It is a gorgeous Sunday night in Los Angeles, and we welcome you to Dodger Stadium, where a sellout crowd is once again on hand. It's Game 4 of this National League Division Series between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers winning for the first time in this series last night, but trailing the best of 5, 2-1. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Tim McCarver, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to playoff baseball right here on Fox. It was a magical night last night for Jose Lima, and Jim Tracy is hoping for more of the same from Odalis Perez, who gets a ball tonight. Timmy, he did not pitch like a Game 1 starter in the opener of this series.
I should say not, Tom. It was the shortest outing of the year. 2 2/3 innings, giving up 6 runs on 5 hits. 3 of those hits home runs, and because the Cardinals were hitting him so hard, the Dodgers management felt that perhaps he was tipping his pitches. They discussed the problem and feel like they have it solved, but Perez, one of their best starters and one of the best starters in the National League throughout this season.
Jeff Suppan, meanwhile, will start it for Tony La Russa's Cardinals. It's been a long time since Suppan has gotten the ball in a real game. He hasn't pitched in 11 days.
And the problem with that is when you get that much rest and you depend on keeping the ball down, you're too strong and you have a tendency to elevate. If he does that, he could be in trouble tonight.
Suppan grew up outside of Los Angeles, so pitching in front of a lot of friends and family here tonight. Emotionally charged this series through the first 3, especially coming back here last night. The Dodgers are hoping to ride that emotion and ride it all the way back to St. Louis later tonight and force a Game 5. The Cardinals want to put this baby to rest tonight. Game 4 next on Fox. The Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. And by Subway. It's what to eat when you want to eat fresh. Subway. Eat fresh. Spectacular Dodger Stadium, just outside of downtown Los Angeles. Sellout crowd on hand for Game 4 of this National League Division Series. The Dodgers have taken the field, and baseball fans grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. Let's take a look at Tony La Russa's starting lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals, the National League Central Division champions. Tony Womack leads off at second. Larry Walker in right. Albert Pujols at first. Scott Rowland at third. Edgar Renteria in the 5-hole at short. Jim Edmonds in center field. Latter third of Reggie Sanders, Mike Matheny, and right-hander Jeff Suppan against 26-year-old left-hander Odalis Perez.
Odalis trying to rebound from that Tuesday start in St. Louis, his worst of the season.
First pitch, strike 1, and we're underway.
Only 2 2/3 innings, the 5 hits, 3 of those home runs.
Get a look at the regular season numbers for Perez. That ball in the air towards Jason Worth. 2 pitches, 1 out.
There are several things that a starting pitcher cannot control. One of those is broken bat base hits. Another is run support. Only 3.3 runs per start. Second lowest in the National League. 18 no decisions. I mean, here's a guy who started 31 games this year and had a 7-6 record.
And a 3.25 ERA.
Yeah, excellent earned run average.
Larry Walker now the batter, and a first pitch fastball in there, a strike. Our broadcast, as always, also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Larry Walker, 3 of 12 in the series, had 2 home runs in Game 1, has been mighty quiet ever since. Much like the rest of this heart of the order of the St. Louis Cardinal lineup. Most of the damage in the first 2 games done near the bottom of the order. Not much at all offensively last night, only 5 hits. You look outside the 6, 7, and 8 spots in the Cardinal batting order in this series. Everybody else is hitting under 200. Fouled away, 2-2.
Larry Walker homered against Perez in Game 1. He struck out on a breaking ball and then hit a hanger his second time up. One of 2 home runs for Larry in game 1.
Jim Tracy felt like Odalis Perez after that first time through the batting order really got away from his game plan, and it hurt him badly the second time through. Rolled over towards Green. That's a fair ball. 2 gone. Take a look at the Dodgers defensively. Cover the Field, brought to you by State Farm, the best defensive team in all of baseball this season. 3 terrific outfielders in Worth, Finley, and Bradley. In fact, Jim Tracy thinks he has 3 center fielders in his outfield, and boy, are they good up the middle with Izturis and Cora. Albert Pujols, 3 hits and 11 at-bats. 1 home run in this series, 1 run batted in. Had another monster regular season, hitting .331, 46 home runs. He had a good rip at that pitch, fouled it back.
Tom, you talked about Perez getting away from his game plan the second time through the order in game 1. A lot of times you can blame that on a catcher too. And this is not aimed at Brent Mayne, because Brent Mayne's only been catching him for about 10 starts. One of the problems of bringing a catcher over at the trading deadline for a postseason team is a catcher like Brent Mayne is not as familiar with Perez as would be a guy like Paul LaDuca, who was traded to Florida on that same day.
Oh, 2. Fastball up and in. Last night they had the towels here at Dodger Stadium. Tonight the Thunder Sticks. They borrowed that idea from their buddies just down south in Orange County.
Different color.
Yeah. Mashed foul. You saw those numbers a moment ago for Pujols, who has worn out Odalis Perez.
That's why, talking to Jim Tracy before the game, about an hour before the game, he said you've got to establish inside to these powerful right-handed Cardinal hitters. Last 2 pitches have been fastballs in on the hands of Pujols.
It's always fascinating what happens in the playoffs. Perez had his best 2 starts of the year, his final 2 starts of the regular season, before the wheels fell off in game 1 of this series. 3-2 on Albert Pujols. Of course, the last time Perez pitched in the postseason, he was 21 years old, pitching for Atlanta. So it's been a while. Just underway. Great to have you with us from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. 2 down, nobody on. Payoff pitch coming to Pujols. Breaking ball, and he took it ball 4. Well, Perez let that at bat get away. He was ahead in the count, no balls and 2 strikes, and Albert draws a walk.
One of the better 2-strike hitters in the game as Pujols fouls off the first 2 pitches, and now Perez coming inside. And now he misses away with the fastball. The changeup is low, and on the 3-2 count, the curve misses down.
Now Scott Rowland. During the regular season, a .314 batter, 34 home runs, 124 batted in. He injured his calf very late in the year and has not swung the bat well at all since returning. In fact, he does not have a single hit in 10 at-bats during this division series.
You had a great question for Tony La Russa before the game, Tom, asking him about changing the lineup tonight. He said, not tonight, maybe tomorrow, which was an interesting comment from Tony. Tomorrow against Jeff Weaver, if it goes that far.
Well, we talked about the numbers for Rowland since returning after missing more than 2 weeks with a calf injury. And look at those numbers. 107 the batting average in 9 games.
Dodgers have been wearing Rowland out inside.
September the 10th, coincidentally, right here at Dodger Stadium. Roland fouling a Kaz Ishii pitch off the left leg. Roland went on to hit a 3-run double in the at-bat, but he had to leave the game in the 4th and then miss the next 16 Cardinal games. They're coming in again on Roland. Left it up and out over the plate.
So the 1-0 pitch that came in, and that was a mistake. That wasn't hit right there. High fastball out of the strike zone that Perez left out over the plate.
2-2 on Scott Rolen.
A lot of people think that if a guy hits a home run, it's a mistake. Big league hitters hit good pitches out too, and they miss mistakes. Back inside.
And just off the corner with a fastball. Perez already throwing a little more on the velocity than he had in game 1.
And this fastball misses inside to Roland.
Pujols now gets an early start over at first. Still held on over there by Sean Green. Just off the inside corner, ball 4. Bruce Dreckman, the home plate umpire. And Odalis Perez wanted that call.
That was close. Remember, the ball just has to cross the front corner of the plate. Even though Brent Mayne clearly caught it inside, it just misses that front corner.
20 pitches in this inning for Odalis Perez. He retired the first 2 in less than a handful. Now he's walked back-to-back hitters and faces one of the deadliest clutch hitters in baseball during the regular season or postseason over the last number of years, Edgar Renteria. So Renteria take a peek down the third base line to see where Beltre was playing there. Driven hard into right field. Milton Bradley's got it. And Perez wiggles off the hook. Dodgers coming up. Last of the first. The Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Honda, the 4-wheel drive 255 horsepower pilot built by Honda. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by IBM, making on-demand business a reality for companies around the world. Scoreless game, bottom of the first inning here at Dodger Stadium. Jim Tracy's starting lineup for the National League Western Division champion LA Dodgers has Cesar Izturis leading off at short, followed by Jason Worth in left field, Steve Finley in center. Adrian Beltre, the third baseman. Sean Green, 2 home runs here last night, 3 in the series at first. Milton Bradley in right. A latter third of Alex Cora, Brent Mayne, and Odalis Perez. Against right-hander Jeff Suppan. Born in Oklahoma, grew up in the San Fernando Valley, just outside of Los Angeles.
16-9 on the year and 10-1 on the road. 2 pitches high. We talked about it in the opening. Standard stuff with a fastball. That's kind of between a splitter and a changeup. And he's looking for the right recipe, and we'll explain that as the inning goes along.
2-0 to Cesar Izturis, just 2 of 13 in the series. He looks at a strike, 2-1.
That recipe would be a W tonight. Jeff Suppan owns a restaurant. His mother and father from Philadelphia.
Popped up in the infield. Pujols makes a catch, and Izturis retired. We talked about the Dodger defense. Many would argue that the Cardinals are the best defensive team in the National League. We cover the field, brought to you by State Farm. Scott Rolen, just one of many Gold Glove winners on the field for St. Louis. Joining Edmonds, Walker, Renteria, and Matheny. Tony La Russa hoping to get the Cardinals back to the National League Championship Series as they did 2 seasons ago after eliminating Arizona in the opening round and then lost to the Giants in their strike.
Talked about Jeff Suppan and his parents being from Philadelphia. His father went to culinary school after retiring as an air traffic controller. That's where the restaurant idea came from. He is a very serious cook and restaurant operator looking for the perfect role to surround the Philly cheesesteak.
Well, when he figures it out, let us know. We'll partake. And what a pleasant young man Jeff Suppan
really is.
Even before the game today, you and I had a chance to visit with him for quite a while. Just a delightful young man. Terrific upbringing by his parents, clearly. Blowing away 3-1. Timmy, getting back to something you brought up earlier. For a guy like Suppan, having not started a game in 11 days, and I know Tony La Russa talked about, we've simulated games. We've simulated situations.
It's not the same, though. It's not the same. I mean, you can simulate all you want on the side, but unless you're out on the mound facing big league competition, it's different. Good fastball right there. But you take the combination of this being such an important game and the fact that Suppan hasn't pitched in 11 days, that's a tough combination with which to be effective.
3-2 to Jason Worth. 3 hits and 11 at bats. Has a home run and 2 runs batted in the series. Suppan fell behind 3-1, and he's coming right after Worth. Back-to-back fastballs right down the gut. Jose Lima. Boy, did he electrify this ballpark, this franchise, this city here last night. Three-two to Worth. Driven deep right center field. Edmonds will watch it go. 1-0 Dodgers.
Fastball out over the plate on the outside part of the plate, hit a ton by Jason Worth, his second home run in this LDS.
Jason Worth, a former #1 draft pick of the Baltimore Orioles, as a catcher. Guy can run like the wind. Steve Finley looks at strike one on the outside corner. Well, this ball was crushed.
Yeah, the problem right there is there were too many repetitious fastballs. The 3-1 fastball, the 3-2 foul back, and then the 3-2 hit a ton. So one thing you try to stay away from is that repetition. That's similar where hitters can sit on pitches like that. Worth sat on that one and hit it forever.
7 of their last 9 runs scored in this series have come on solo home runs. Sean Green had a couple of them here last night. Steve Finley got his first hit in the series last night. Broke a scoreless game with a 2-run broken bat double in the third. Again on the outside corner, 2-2. Finley 36 home runs during the regular season and 94 batted in. That one's in the air down the right field line. Is it fair? Is it foul? Foul ball, not by much.
Hooking foul.
Chuck Merriweather on the call after working behind the plate in Game 3 here last night. So again, a 2-2 to Finley. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Not many smiles in that Dodger dugout the first 2 games at Busch Stadium. Two-hopper at Tony Womack, Finley's former teammate in Arizona. And Tony throws him out for the second out of the inning.
For the Dodgers, number 29.
The difference between that fastball and the one that Jason Worth hit is that Worth saw 3 fastballs the same, not only the same speed, but they moved similarly. That ball had a little tail on it, a 2-seam fastball.
Beltre, 4 hits and 12 at-bats in this series, has not knocked in a single run. And in fact, Beltre was pretty quiet the final weekend of the regular season. You see, starting on September the 30th, including the first 3 games of this series, not a single run batted in. Or extra base hit for that matter. But boy, did Beltre do it during the regular year. 48 home runs, most in the major league, 2nd in the National League in total bases, 4th in RBIs. He had 200 hits. Lined and Renteria to end the inning. But the Dodgers strike in the bottom half of the first inning on a long one by Jason Worth. And the ball, 1-0 Dodgers. Jason Worth, the solo home run in the bottom half of the first inning off Jeff Suppan, and the Dodgers lead Tony La Russa's Cardinals 1-0. You know, Timmy, we were downstairs visiting with both managers before the game, and Tony, a very buttoned-down, conservative guy, very likable guy the more you get to know him.
Very superstitious.
Absolutely. But he did seem, tell me if you agree, a little concerned about the way things seemed to turn around a little bit here last night and going into the game today.
Yeah, a little more skittish than Tony is normally, even though he did have one positive thing to say about Jeff Suppan, saying that, you know, had we clinched it last night, you know, Jeff Suppan not being able to start and having to start during the LCS might have been a bad thing. He said, now, obviously, I'm not saying it was good for us to lose last night, but it's just something to consider.
He also told us Jason Marquis is available tonight out of the Cardinal bullpen as a last resort. He said that's the last guy he would use.
I think Tony looking to see the glass half full as opposed to half empty. Then he kind of laughed, and implying that obviously he's rationalizing after losing last night.
Jim Edmonds takes outside. Odalis Perez walked 2 batters in the opening inning. Back-to-back 2-out walks to Pujols and Roland, but got Renteria on a liner to right to get out of the jam. Edmonds 4 of 12 in the series with a home run. Odalis Perez, one of the best controlled pitchers in all of baseball the last 3 years, and already 3 walks through the first 6 batters of the game here tonight.
Big difference in walking 2 guys with 2 outs instead of walking the leadoff runner. I think when you walk the leadoff batter of an inning, that leads to more multi-run innings than almost anything. The psychology of it, you walk a guy and now all of a sudden you're going to find the fatter part of the plate, and that's when big league hitters hammer you, wear you out.
Reggie Sanders about it, and he looks at ball 1 low. The 3 walks already in this game tonight match a season high for Odalis Perez. 3 walks in a game, the most he issued all year long in 31 starts. Postseason jitters, perhaps. Rolled over foul. Let's welcome in our third member of the broadcast team here tonight, Chris Meyer.
Hey, Tom, Tim, Reggie Sanders told me before the game that Odalis Perez, the talk about tipping his pitches, he said there was nothing to that. The problem was in game 1, Odalis was leaving the ball over the middle of the plate. So he did say we expect him to be much better tonight. He said, here's your tip for me. We'll be more patient as hitters against Odalis Perez this evening.
That's certainly proven to be the case thus far with 3 walks in 1+ inning.
There goes the runner. Throw down to second base, and Edmonds is out from me to you. Edmonds limping around here last night.
That could have been a missed sign. Edmonds does not look back, however, and usually when a runner doesn't look back, it means it's a straight steal. Good throw by Brent Mayne to get Jim Edmonds, who had only 4 steals during the season. He tried it only 7 times. That's why I thought it might have been a hit and run that was missed by Reggie Sanders.
Mayne, a pretty good defender back there. He's cut down 38% of would-be base stealers on the year. That's a pretty good ratio in this day and age. In the air, well hit deep left field, and Reggie Sanders has tied it at 1. His first home run, first run batted in this National League Division Series.
Perez tries to come inside to Sanders. You can see the disgruntled look on the face of Brent Mayne. Once this ball was hit, he just drops his head. That's kind of what Reggie Sanders did. Dropped the head, and so did Mayne to tie it.
Swing and a miss by Mike Matheny.
Not only do pitchers know it, but it's that sound. Catchers know it too. Boom, watch Mayne's head.
You've done that a time or 2.
I still do it. I don't even call it and do it. That's what happens when you're trying to come inside, though, and you miss out over the plate, as Perez did to Reggie Sanders.
2-1 account on Matheny. Sharply hit, backhanded by is Turris. 2 away in the inning. Let's check in with Jeannie Velasco.
Tom, Mariano Rivera's status for Game 1 of the ALCS remains in question tonight. The Yankees closer was mid-celebration in a Minneapolis clubhouse when he received some devastating news. 2 family members were electrocuted while cleaning the swimming pool at his home in Panama City, Panama. Rivera's wife, Clara, is headed for Panama. There are some reports that Rivera is going with her. It is not known when the Yankees closer plans to return. Of course, Game 1 of the championship series with the Red Sox is scheduled for Tuesday.
Jeannie, thank you very much. And certainly our thoughts and prayers go to Mariano Rivera and his entire family. It's such a tragic story, even more so when it's involved with a child.
Happened at Mariano's home, and the New York Yankees have to determine their roster for the LCS tomorrow morning by 10 o'clock Eastern time. So it is yet to be determined whether Mariano Rivera will be part of the playoff roster. You can't add players. You need to go right to the rules of the postseason. But life intervenes. But you can't add players in the middle of an LCS or a World Series or an LDS. Can after, but not during.
Jeff Suppan, a very good hitter, singled a moment ago. Suppan nearly a .270 batter. And he's aboard with a 2-out single to keep the inning alive for Tony Womack. 1-1 game here in the second inning. Solo home runs from Jason Worth and Reggie Sanders. Off the glove of Perez. Cora feeds his toes to end the inning. But Sanders gets his 5th career postseason home run and knocks this one at 1 apiece. Reggie Sanders answers the home run off the bat of Jason Worth. We're tied at 1. Bottom of the second inning coming up. Speaking of the long ball, Sean Green will start things for the Dodgers. 3 home runs in this series for Green, a pair of them last night. Much made in the local press about Sean Green and the way he has swung the bat here in this division series and over the second half of this season. First pitch swinging here, pops it up into short left field. Sanders waiting. 1 pitch, 1 out for Suppan. Well, before the game, longtime Dodger skipper Tommy Lasorda
Number 21.
giving the troops a pep talk. Timmy. Going to give Milton Bradley an airful here in a minute.
If I were in uniform, I'm not too sure I would be receptive to that particular pep talk.
Really?
Yes,
Why?
because it's Tommy Lasorda giving it.
Milton Bradley the batter. Well, let's see if it pays big dividends for Milton Bradley here.
He'll hear what I just said, and he'll get his ire up, I promise you. And he'll probably be in here by the 5th inning.
Well, he still has a great fire and love for the game, doesn't he? He's here just about every single night.
Tommy is irrepressible in many ways.
One and 1 to Milton Bradley on the inside corner.
By the way, Tom, I would like to correct something I said regarding Mariano Rivera. The rosters have to be set at 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning. I said it was tomorrow morning. That's Tuesday morning.
And you will be covering that series, that showdown series again. You can see it in its entirety right here on Fox. Game 1, Yankee Stadium, Tuesday night.
Curt Schilling and Mike Messina going at it in the Bronx, 8 o'clock on Tuesday night, and what a rollicking, raucous series that should be.
Well, we invite you to join us during the entire postseason right here on Fox. The American League Championship Series beginning on Tuesday night. The National League Championship Series starts on Wednesday. 3-2. Incidentally, Curt Schilling and Mike Messina was the pitching matchup. Game 1 of the 2001 World Series, when Schilling outpitched Messina in the opener. Pretty good at bat right there by Milton Bradley.
Really was.
Providing aerial coverage for tonight's game, AmeriQuest Airship Freedom, captained by Mike Hance and Jose Colon. Freedom is the airship of AmeriQuest Mortgage Company, the official mortgage company of Major League Baseball. And what spectacular shots they have brought us from Dodger Stadium the last 2 nights. Thank you. And be well up there. Runner goes, got a great jump. They'll never throw him out.
Sometimes it's not that you walk a hitter, it's who you walk. And when you walk a guy who can run like Bradley can, you're walking him into a double. Tremendous jump. No chance for Matheny.
Milton Bradley, an explosive player with an explosive temper. It saw him suspended for the final games of the regular season after the incident here at Dodger Stadium in a game against Colorado, the second to last series of the year. Was suspended earlier this season as well. Then he had a run-in with the Los Angeles Times reporter when this series opened in St. Louis. He's probably down to his final strike with the Dodgers. And quite honestly, should be. Right side, Pujols. To Suppan covering, advancing on to third is Bradley. 2 away in the inning. See, the Dodgers have struggled and struggled mightily in these situations for better than a week.
Mike Matheny looking over to Tony La Russa. Normally in situations like this, you pitch around a hitter, but the Cardinals may go ahead and walk him. Nope, no sign of a walk right here. It's a problem pitching around the guy with the guy on third. If you throw a ball in the dirt, it could be a run, a cheap run. There's a big difference in pitching around the batter with a runner on at second base as opposed to a runner on at third base. Margin for error when he's at second, not at third.
Main 2 hits in 5 at bats. 2-0.
Got to go ahead and walk him now. But you're pitching to a catcher. A catcher on the flip-flop understands what you're trying to do to him.
So maybe if you're Brent Maine, you expand your strike zone a little bit here.
Yeah, I think so.
3-0.
Not that much.
Maine did not homer during the regular season. Has 4 hits in his last 9 at bats. 3-0. Nowhere close. So the old unintentional, intentional walk after they fell behind 2-0. Odalis Perez, a 113 batter during the regular season with a couple of runs batted in. Looks at strike 1. Perez 7 hits in 62 at bat. Oh, and 2. Get a look from Diamond Cam. Fastball high. We almost lost Diamond Cam last night when Bigfoot came rolling by. Albert Pujols.
Yeti.
Little roller back to the mound. Suppan to Pujols. That'll end the inning. 2 walks, 2 left. Part of the order coming up, and Larry Walker, who had 2 home runs in game 1, will start it in the 3rd. Well, we're in Los Angeles. Celebrities abound. One of your favorites, Timmy, Kid Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Meathead.
Mary Hart.
Indeed. I know Rob Reiner. I mean, obviously, he's done some wonderful things in his career. But I think for many of us who grew up during that time, during All in the Family, we'll forever remember him in that role with Archie Bunker. Ball 1 to Larry Walker. 1-1 game. Game 4 of his National League Division Series. The Cardinals trying to put this one on ice. Go back home late tonight. Have a couple of games, a couple of days to get ready for the winner of Atlanta and Houston. And those two teams lock up in Game 5 tomorrow after a dramatic come-from-behind win today by the Braves.
Three-run home run by Adam LaRoche. Huge. I mean, did he hit that ball forever at Minute Maid down in Houston?
Roger Clemens left that game after 5 innings with a 5-2 lead. In the very first inning he came out, 4 batters went by, and it was tied at 5. Big inning here for the Cardinals and Odalis Perez. Walker, Pujols, and Rolen coming up.
Game-winning hit by former Cardinal J.D. Drew in the 9th inning.
Fourth walk of the game already issued by Odalis Perez, and that is a season high. We talked about the bottom part of the order and the solid numbers from that trio, but what about the heart of the order here? Game 1, 6 hits by that quartet, 4 in 2 games since.
Well, the guy at the plate right now, with the exception of Barry Bonds, in my opinion, he's the toughest guy to pitch to in baseball.
Why?
Barry Bonds with 232 walks this year. He'll take that pitch. Here's a guy who can hit the ball off the plate outside and off the plate inside. You may remember the All-Star game in Houston when he doubled down the left field line on a ball about 5 inches inside. He can keep that ball fair. Not too many guys can do that.
Swung on and missed. Bottom fell out of that pitch.
All-Star game in Houston. That's the tight pitch. That pitch in on the hands about 5 inches off the plate. Most pitches, most hitters will pull that ball foul. But a guy like Pujols has a way of bringing the hands in and the bat head out to keep that ball fair.
Change up, down and away. 2 balls and a strike.
He's all over the place. Last night.
Duck.
Dangerous situation right here. Pujols with power to all fields. He homered off Perez to center in St. Louis.
On the ground down to third. Beltre able to knock it down. He'll throw to first and got the out there. Walker advances into scoring position. 1 away.
Good play by Beltre. This ball eats him up with that top spin, but he recovers in time to just get Pujols at first base. Nicely done. Good stretch by Green.
Activity for the first time tonight in the Dodger bullpen, as Scott Rolen is still in search of his first hit in this series. He walked his first time up tonight. Jim Tracy certainly has to be concerned about the command trouble thus far for Odalis Perez. 4 walks. He did not walk that many batters in a single start this entire season. So Wilson Alvarez getting loose. Hammered down the left field line, but foul.
Now you pitch him inside enough and they start looking for it. Rolen looking for that fastball inside. He got it, but pulled it foul. We talked about how Pujols can keep a ball like that fair. Well, that normally is what happens on that inside fastball. Guys get the barrel of the bat out and hook it foul, as Rolen did.
Walker, the go-ahead run in scoring position, and the 1-1 pitch to Rolen is in the dirt. Maine able to keep it in front of him off about 7 feet to his left, but Walker will stay put. Told you last night, Rolen, the second best hitter with runners in scoring position in the National League this season, second only to Barry Bonds. And much like Albert Pujols, terrific numbers for Rolen against the Dodger left-hander. Three and one. Renteria left 2 on in the opening inning. He may come up there again with 2 on. Jim Colburn checking on that phone to find out how close Alvarez is to being ready. It would not be surprising if Perez gets an early hook.
He is pitching so defensively thus far, falling behind every Cardinal hitter.
And what did Jim Tracy tell us before the game? If that happens to Perez, it could be a long night or a short night for O'Dowd. To Rolen. Just off the inside corner. He continues to try that inside edge to the right-handed batters, and he hasn't gotten a call yet.
Now breaking ball right there, and the one thing Dallas is not doing, he's not hitting with his off-speed stuff in fastball counts. He walked Pujols with a 3-2 curveball. He just walked Rolen with a 3-2 curveball, and Jim Colburn wants to talk. I think the one thing that you ought to tell him here is to be aggressive in the count early. And thus far, he has not been. You just can't give the Cardinals one chance after another and expect them not to take advantage of it sooner or later.
We invite you to play Hit the Pros, presented by the all-new GMC Canyon, and face real pitches from today's best hurlers. Log on to foxsports.com, keyword games. GMC, we are professional grade. Alvarez appears to be ready in the Dodger bullpen. And now Perez faces Edgar Renteria. He came up with 2 on and 2 out in the first inning and lined out to Milton Bradley and right.
See that outfield defense playing Edgar Renteria almost like a left-handed pull hitter. Way around to the right side. And you can predict fastballs away because you don't want to pitch away from the defense. You can see in right field and center field, they're giving Renteria the left field line and working him away.
Good change up there from Perez. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Sometimes if you're a hitter, you can check the outfielders and get a pretty good idea on how a pitcher's going to try to pitch you by their positioning.
Larry Walker leads at second base. Likewise for Rolen at first. Green plays behind him over there. 1 out. 1-1 pitch on Edgar Renteria. A roller foul. One of the few batters Perez has gotten ahead of. Boy, this Cardinal club, more so than any other team in baseball, you cannot put guys on base without earning their way on base and expect to keep them down. This is one lethal offensive ball club. Yeah, they were shut out last night, and like Tony La Russa said, you tip your cap to Jose Lima. But this club can hit.
4 straight pitches away to Renteria.
"57 pitches already in the game for Odalis Perez. He was gone after 2 2/3 innings in game 1 after 55 pitches. Action pitch here on 2 2. Fouled out of play. Woody Williams, the would-be Game 5 starter for St. Louis, has already left Los Angeles to get back home and get a good night's rest should there be a decisive game tomorrow. You saw the Dodgers starter tomorrow, Jeff Weaver, is staying with his team here tonight. Three and two. They continue to go away, away, away. That would be the matchup tomorrow. Weaver knocked around in game 2 of this series. Woody Williams went to 6 innings, allowed 8 hits, 2 runs. He was on the ropes a number of times, but pitched out of trouble. Had a very high pitch count.
I think the runners will be sent here. Renteria, good contact hitter.
There they go. On the ground. And into left field, a base hit. Walker will score, and Renteria has given St. Louis a 2-1 lead.
It's funny, had the runners not been running, that ball perhaps could have been knocked down. But one of the side effects of putting guys in motion is it discombobulates the infielders. They don't get as good a jump as if they see the ball clearly. So Walker going toward third, and that is going to be all for Odalis Perez. The Cardinals finally took advantage of the walks.
Alvarez will come on to replace Perez.
With 1 out and the runners running on the base hit by Renteria, had Scott Rowland not had the bad leg, he's on third base easily. He is the best base runner in the National League. But you can tell he is really favoring that left shin, so he stops at second base, but normally with 1 out in particular, he'd be on third easily.
So the veteran left-hander Wilson Alvarez takes over on the mound. He pitched splendidly this season for the Dodgers, both as a starter and as a reliever. He's pitched in 1 game in this series and allowed 1 run in an inning and 2/3. Jim Edmonds looks at ball 1. A very disappointing outing again for Odalis Perez. 5 walks. Two on, 1 out. 2 balls and no strikes. Alvarez more than likely would have been in the Dodgers starting rotation for this postseason were it not for a chronically bad hip, which prevented him from extended periods of time out on the mound, so they had to move him back into the bullpen. A one-time very hard thrower back in his days with the Chicago White Sox. Moved on to Tampa Bay and had some disappointing years there, and has pitched, as we mentioned, quite well for the Dodgers as a starter and reliever. Fouled away by Edmonds, and after falling behind 2-0, it's even at 2-2.
Something that Jim Tracy had to do. 5 walks in 2 1/3. He lasted, Perez that is, lasted 2 2/3. His first outing against the Cardinals last Tuesday. And only 2 1/3 tonight.
Edmonds walked his first time up. 2 on, 1 out, 2-2 pitch. Struck him out. 2 away.
outfielder, Reggie Sanders.
Our baseball postseason coverage continues tomorrow. Game 5 action will either be in Atlanta, or if this series goes back to St. Louis, we'll have the decisive game between the Dodgers and Cardinals tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Either way, we'll have a Game 5 coming your way tomorrow. If both series go to a Game 5, we'll have them both right here on Fox starting at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Strike one to Reggie Sanders, who homered his first time up.
On a 1-ball, 2-strike count, Dallas Perez tried to come inside to Reggie Sanders, but he tied it with the home run. I mean a boomer, too.
Rolling at second, Renteria first, and the 0-1 from Alvarez. Swing and a miss.
That's what National League pitchers try to do. They try to pitch Reggie slightly above the hands. If it's too far above the hands, it's out of the strike zone. He broke in with Eric Davis of the Cincinnati Reds, and both were similar hitters. Since that time, Reggie's raised his hands a little bit and can handle that high fastball a little better. But still, that's the place to go. A good low ball hitter.
Which theoretically is not a good combination for Sanders in this matchup with Alvarez. And that's not to say he couldn't make a mistake and Sanders hit one into the seats again.
That's right. The reason for that is Alvarez has a good high fastball and has featured it.
Yep. Got that fastball down in the zone, tried to come in the outside corner and missed it. Two now on Sanders. Cardinals have taken their first lead of the game here in the 3rd inning. A leadoff walk to Larry Walker. 1 out later, a walk to Scott Rowland. And Renteria made Perez pay, driving in the go-ahead run. Out went Perez, in came Alvarez. He struck out Edmonds. And now a 2-2 pitch up coming to Sanders. He had a good rip at that pitch. Reggie shaking his head.
I think you'd like to have that one back. Brent Maines setting up outside. That had too much of the plate.
I don't know if I've ever seen in an outing, and we have seen Alvarez pitch a lot the last couple of years inside the National League West particularly. I don't know if I've ever seen him keep this many fastballs down around the knees in any outing in 2 years. That may not be a good thing for him in this at-bat.
Feisty at-bat by Reggie Sanders. Thing about this Cardinal lineup, they will take the walk and they don't strike out a lot. For a team that hits as many home runs and is as power laden as they are.
So the runners get started. Rolling at second, Renteria first on this 3-2 pitch. Fooled him with a changeup. Well, the Cardinals take the lead. The Dodgers have the top of the order coming up. Down a run. Wilson Alvarez took over for Odalis Perez and fanned Jim Edmonds and Reggie Sanders to end the top half of this third inning. Dodgers have the top of the order up against Jeff Suppan in a 2-1 ball game. Strike one to his Turris, who popped up to Pujols his first time up. 2 of 14 in the series is Cesar Turris. Breaking ball swung on and fouled out of play quickly. 0-2. We had a chance in between innings to catch up with Tony La Russa. We'll bring you his comments in a moment. Told you his Turris in the series, 2 of 14, hitless in his last 11 at bats. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Every pitch is not designed to get a hitter out. Some pitches are designed to just to show the hitter. The curveball in the dirt, then at 1-2 fastball, that was designed to get him out, and he missed inside.
Bouncing ball at Renteria in front of the bag, throws out his counterpart. We talked to Tony La Russa just a moment ago. Here's what he had to say.
Tony, you've had a lot of opportunities, only 2 runs thus far.
Well, there's the half a dozen on 1/6 of the other. I like the opportunities. That means we're taking good at bats, and we're going to break through sooner or later. Sometimes you got to give credit to the pitcher.
Tony, your impressions of your starter so far tonight?
Doing okay. Not quite sharp enough, and the city gets in the game just a little better.
Thank you for the time.
Okay. Thanks, Tony.
Tony La Russa has guided the Cardinals to the postseason for the 5th time in his 9-year tenure. It's the 10th time he's taken a club to the postseason. The White Sox in '83, Oakland in '88, '89, '90, and '92, and now the Redbirds. After going to the NLCS in '96, they've been there 3 of the last 4 years, and now 4 of the last 5. But yet to take St. Louis to a World Series.
Chance that Tony and the Cardinals had against the Atlanta Braves back in 1996, ahead 3 games to 1. And then Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz, the last 3 games, allowed 1 run to the Cardinal offense. And it was the Braves who lost to the New York Yankees after going up 2 games to nothing in the '96 World Series.
Three balls, no strikes to Jason Worth, who homered his first time up, taking 3-0. And boy, did he hit it to right center field. Worth, an extremely aggressive hitter. He'll come out of his shoes if there's one in the strike zone here. But he takes ball 4. Well, the only time a good base stealer reached in a game tonight, Milton Bradley, in the 2nd inning. He stole second base rather easily. Worth runs very well. We'll see if he's in motion.
I don't think Jason will ever be a big base stealer, even though I think he's an excellent base runner. Usually if you're 6'5" or more, you're not going to be a good base stealer. Takes too long to get going. Good base stealers have acceleration with that first step or 2. Lou Brock, Maury Wills, Ricky Henderson. Steve Finley, the batter, 1 on, 1 out. 1-0 pitch.
Goes to 2-0. And Suppan continues to struggle with his command after the 11-day layoff in between outings.
Perez walked 5. Jeff Suppan has walked 3 and is behind in the count to Steve Finley.
Finley, like Worth, a very aggressive hitter.
Looking for something inside right here.
Suppan pitching in the postseason for the first time in his career. Came up originally with Boston, moved on to Arizona. 3-1 now to Finley. Spent time in Kansas City, Pittsburgh, finished up again at the end of last year with Boston, but did not pitch in the postseason. And it had an excellent year his first season with the Cardinals, a 16-game winner. Runner goes. Bouncing ball in the right field. Worth will turn the corner and go to third, and here come the Dodgers.
Normally, I think with a hitter of Finley's caliber, I don't think 2-0, 3-1 is a good time to send the runner. But with a guy who throws ground balls, and you're on first base, Jim Tracy making the right move, because if he doesn't send Worth on that pitch, Worth ends up on second base.
Dave Duncan will now come on and visit with Suppan and catcher Mike Matheny. And the bullpen springs to life. Cal Eldred will start to throw. Adrian Beltre may wind up as the National League's most valuable player. And unlike this Dodger Stadium crowd, Beltre has been so quiet during this division series. Not a single run batted in. Threw a fastball right by him. Let's check in with Chris Myers.
Well, it's as loud as it's been. Dodger fans known for being laid back, and Steve Finley told me that we have a quiet kind of thing. We're not the rah-rah Dodgers of the Tommy Lasorda era, but these fans have responded.
Shot down the right field line, and it's 0-2 on Beltre. Boy, Chris, you're exactly right. I mean, you consider here in Los Angeles yesterday, between USC, UCLA, and the Dodgers playing in Division Series Game 3, over 200,000 fans on hand for those 3 sporting events in this area.
Time for Suppan to go out of the strike zone, either inside or away. Beltre, along with a lot of other major league hitters, is not very patient with 2 strikes. He is inclined to go after a bad pitch, so pray on that if you're a pitcher.
1-2 to Beltre. Time is called. Suppan has not pitched in 11 days. Beltre has not homered in 13 days. You're talking about a hitter who led the major leagues with 26 home runs after the All-Star break. They try to get him a chase going out of the zone. 2-2. Crowd chanting MVP. In the air, right field. Walker in fair territory to catch. Beltre is knocked in his first run of the series. We're tied at 2. About how flat Suppan's breaking ball is. When you stick with fastballs only to a guy like Beltre with a runner on third base and less than 2 outs, you know that Mike Matheny certainly knows that the breaking ball is too flat. No bite to it. If you're Jim Tracy here with Green at the plate, do you try to get Finley into scoring position quickly in this at-bat?
Well, there are 2 ways to look at that. Green is hot. 2 home runs last night. Quieten things down behind him and let him hit. That changes with 2 strikes, however. If it goes 1-2 or 0-2, I think you send Finley then. But up to that point, let him hit.
Finley, the go-ahead run over at first, runs very well. And the 0-1 to Green. Big swing and a miss.
Now, 2 good fastballs up and in to Shawn Green. It's what Matt Morris was trying to do on that second home run last night. He got the ball down, and that ball down and in, a volatile area. But whereas Finley wasn't running the first 2 pitches, now's a good time to send him.
Suppan thinking along those same lines. Talked about Finley. He really brings the whole package. Played in every game this season, 162 of them. Has hit over 250 home runs, has stolen over 250 bases. Not running, and Green chases and has gone on strikes, but the Dodgers tie the game. We go to the 4th, a 2-2 affair. The division series on Fox is brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. Game 4 of this National League Division Series, and at the end of 3, a 2-2 ball game. 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors, 5 left on base for St. Louis. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 4 men left on for the Dodgers. Both starting pitchers shaky thus far here tonight. In fact, Dallas Perez long gone. This one in the hands for the time being of Wilson Alvarez. Now, Tony La Russa has activity, or at least a few bodies stirring down in that bullpen. Suppan due up second here in the 4th inning. Somebody was down there just working on their mechanics. I beg your pardon. We saw Eldred getting loose a short while ago.
Every time I hear that term, I think of Glenn Wilson, a former major league outfielder who purchased 2 service stations while he was still playing.
Roller at Cora, down on one knee, one away.
About 2 months after he purchased the service stations, he retired. And the writers in Pittsburgh said, "Why did you retire?" He said, "I was thinking about my mechanics." They said, "Your mechanics?" He said, "Yeah, my real mechanics who work for me."
Next week, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy hit the road and set up shop to broadcast America's #1 pregame show live from Foxborough, home of the undefeated Patriots. Fox NFL Sunday returns next week, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific on Fox. The entire gang were at it earlier today. And what a day of sports again here on Fox. NFL all day, playoff baseball at night. Doesn't get much better for that. Of course, some of the wives out there may argue vehemently. Maybe even some husbands would argue vehemently, because there are a lot of great female sports fans out there.
That's right.
Two little angels getting an early dose of playoff baseball right there. 2-1 on Suppan. Alvarez has retired all 3 batters he's faced since coming on from the Dodger pen. 2-2 to Suppan, who had a base hit into center field his first time up. Swung on and fouled back out of play. Still 2-2. A lot of times you go to your long reliever, and let's be honest about it, you feel a little shaky about putting a game, especially a game of this magnitude, in their hands. Nothing could be further from the truth for Jim Tracy in regards to the man who's his long man tonight, Wilson Alvarez.
That's an excellent point. He's like a backup starter tonight.
Which he's had to do a lot over the last couple of years with this ball club. They've had so many injuries in the pitching staff. And it's fisted into left field. Sounded like a broken bat, but Suppan, we told you, 270 hitter. And he is 2 for 2 tonight. So Suppan allowed to bat there, Tim. It looked like Tony La Russa maybe was flirting with the idea of batting for him. He has not been as sharp as Tony would like him to be.
I think in the postseason time, you take things in increments. Normally, during the regular season, you're trying to build confidence with your starter. And here we are, you're trying to clinch the thing. And you take it in increments of 3. I mean, you got the whole bullpen available tonight. And obviously, Jim Tracy does. And the way I look at this game is whoever has the lead in the 7th inning will win.
Womack fouls it back out of play, and incidentally, he brought it up earlier, but for those of you that were not with us, Jim Tracy told us point blank, as he did last night, that Eric Gagne would be available from the 7th inning on.
Gagne, the saves leader over the last 4 years, 152 saves. Last 3 years, I beg your pardon.
Including 84 in a row.
84 in a row. Boggles the mind.
I was here the night it started, and here the night it ended.
All right.
Fouled back out of play.
And the Dodgers ended up winning the night it ended.
Yep.
They won the ball game.
Yep. The only time I've ever seen, and I'm not so sure it won't be the only time I will ever see, a closer blow a save, get a standing ovation, and a curtain call. Wow. The night 84 consecutive saves came to an end against Arizona earlier this summer. Pretty good at bat here by Womack, even though he's behind in the count 1-2, making Alvarez work. Those folks dialed into the tones unquestionably of the great Vin Scully, Hall of Fame voice of the Dodgers for 53 years. Well, what a baseball treasure he is. Much like they had in St. Louis for so long, the late great Jack Buck. Again, a 1-2 coming to Womack. Off the outside edge.
Especially with 2 strikes, Womack is not a guy who has a lot of power the other way. Jason Worth, inexperienced, really a little too deep in left field. When you see hitters take those types of swings, they're punching at the ball. They're using only their arms. A guy like Jason Worth, you have to make Tony Womack hit the ball over your head. If it's a fly ball, you're going to have time to drift back on it anyway. But you have to protect that area in front of you. You can't allow him to dump one in front of you.
2-2. Hooked into right field, and Bradley got it. No, he didn't. And Suppan went back to the bag. Safe at first, but they will get the out at second base. Bradley claiming he had the ball, and then it dropped in the exchange. But good hustle out there by Chuck Merriweather, who was right on top of the call.
It looked like a very good call. Bradley making the play.
He caught it.
Well, he's got to take it out cleanly. I guess that's what Chuck Merriweather is saying. And in that exchange, the Cardinals get a break because now Womack is on at first base instead of Suppan, the pitcher. That's a very close call. I mean, we have seen it a lot of times. But Suppan, he's hung out to dry. I mean, not used to running.
I think Tony La Russa is arguing this point right now. I think what he's saying is they threw to first base. And then when they threw down to second base, I think he's asking, do they have to tag that runner at second base after they initially threw to the first baseman, Sean Green? Tony pointing down there at second base, and he must have gotten the answer that he wanted to hear.
Well, it's a force out right there, even though the force out went 9-4-3-6. I don't think I've ever seen a force out go 9-4-3-6.
I'm with you.
But the Cardinals, on a good play by Bradley, who complained about the catch, and he should have, because now the Cardinals have a fast runner on, and they can rest their pitcher. Pardon me. Jeff Suppan.
Right now, Larry Walker, the batter. He has bounced to first, drawn a walk, scored a run. 2-2 game. We're in the fourth. Back up the middle and into center field, a base hit. Womack will slam on the brakes after an aggressive turn at second base. So here come the Cardinals. They took the lead in the top of the third. The Dodgers tied it in the bottom of the inning. And now Albert Pujols with a chance to put them on top again.
So Larry Walker with the base hit. That was a very interesting play with Bradley. I think when the exchange is that quick, and when it has to be that quick, I guess that's what Chuck Merriweather called and said that was why Bradley dropped the ball.
When it happens, though, on a forced play at a base for a middle infielder, they count the runner out at that bag.
In the act of throwing.
Absolutely. In the exchange.
It was a fine play by Bradley, but because the exchange was so quick, Milton dropped the ball and ended up forcing the pitcher, Suppan, who had retreated to first base, forcing him at second. Once again, 9-4-3-6.
Pujols, a .343 batter during the regular season with runners in scoring position. He's knocked in just 1 run on a solo home run in this series. So here you have two of the great sluggers in Pujols and Beltre. In between them, they have 2 RBIs. What a likable young man Albert Pujols is. Featured in this week's People magazine and loves at home cooking. Cool pitch paints the inside corner. Pujols not so sure. Well, this one's shaping up to be a dandy here tonight. Maybe not the most crisply pitched game in the world or played game in the world, but it's 2-2 in the 4th inning. Dodgers trying to send it to Game 5. The Cardinals trying to end this series tonight. 3-1 on Pujols. Rolling next. There's activity in the Dodger bullpen. Hard throwing rookie right-hander Dwaner Sanchez. In the air, down the left field line, hit a ton. Back to the wall is Worth. It is gone. Pujols, a 3-run home run.
A 3-1 fastball out over the plate. He is so strong. Question of whether it was going to be fair or not. Coming inside on a 3-1 count. If you're going to jam a hitter, trying to jam him 3-1, 2-0, 2-1, 3-0, not the place to go. Remember in last night's game, generally speaking, if a pitcher is behind in the count, you go away. If you're ahead in the count, that's the time to pop him inside. When you've got a guy like Pujols on a 3-1 count, that's what he's sitting on. Something to drive, and he got it.
5-2 Cardinals lead. Let's check in with Chris Myers.
Well, we talked about the crowd before, Tom. Now it's so quiet here at Dodger Stadium. The celebrities can hear themselves tell themselves how good they are.
Albert Pujols doesn't need to tell anybody how good he is.
Watch Brent Maine setting up inside, and Alvarez tries to get inside. Not saying you can't pitch Pujols inside, but 3-1's not the time to do it.
St. Louis recaptures the lead. Second home run in this series for Albert Pujols, the 4th of his postseason career. What a marvelous talent. And those who know him best are around him the most. Tony La Russa, most notably, will tell you he's an even better guy than he is a player.
Pujols signing a 7-year, $100 million contract before this year. And with that swing, he earned some of it at least.
Well, he earns every penny of it. On the ground to Cesar Izturis, and that'll end the inning. But Pujols with 2 aboard plays long ball after 3.5, a 3-run Cardinal lead. Well, it's great to have our chairman at Fox Sports, David Hill, his entire family out here tonight. A little girl in the blue bandana, Annie Hill, David's wife Joan, and the little baby Sarah taking in Dodger baseball here tonight. Playoff baseball. Annie looked like she's a big fan.
All right. And
on, or Dodger blue on tonight. And the Dodgers are blue right now.
Trailing 5-2. Long way to go in this one. 3-run home run by Pujols, the difference right now. Swing and a miss by Milton Bradley. He'll be followed in the inning by Cora and Maine, and then more than likely a pinch hitter. Suppan given his second lead of the game. Did he go? They ring up Bradley. Only a field out of Dale Scott at third base.
Only the second strikeout for Jeff Suppan. That's the advantage once again of getting the 2 strikes and going off the plate. You get an aggressive Milton Bradley.
Alex Cora bounced out to Pujols his first time up. 2 hits in 12 at-bats in this division series. Knocked down by Pujols, and he'll beat Cora to the bag. Good play by Albert down at first base.
Well, that's the thing about Pujols that a lot of people from coast to coast really don't know a lot about, is his defense. I mean, he is superb on the offensive side of the ball and very good defensively. Nice play by Albert Pujols.
And of course, since coming to the major leagues, he's had to play a number of different positions.
Left field, third base, but he is a very good first baseman.
Right back to the mound. And Suppan, his first perfect inning of the night. We played 4. 5-2 Cardinals back after a break from your local Fox station. Double switch made by Jim Tracy. A new battery. David Ross takes over behind the plate. And the rookie right-hander, Jose Lima, comes in from the Dodger bullpen. Popped up right side, and Cora's got it. 1 pitch and 1 out for Lima. 24 years old. Came up originally as an outfielder. This is only his second full season as a pitcher. And boy, are they high on his future.
Guillermo Mota was traded on July 31st, one of the best setup pitchers in baseball. Wilson Alvarez, of course, is through. But there are a lot in the Dodger organization who think Jose Lima can be just as good. And after seeing him work, I feel the same way.
He originally came up, did Brazoban in the Yankees organization. Came over in the Jeff Weaver, Kevin Brown deal from New York during the offseason. So many times it's always a guy, you read the transaction in the paper. Weaver and Brown got all the headlines in that trade. But oftentimes it's a guy you just pass right by that makes the most noise over the next 3-4 years. And that could be the case for Brazoban.
And speaking of noise, that's something Kevin Brown did not allow the Minnesota Twins to make in start number 3. Game number 3. And the first game in Minnesota for the New York Yankees. What a huge start that was. Kevin Brown breaking his left hand, pounding it against a brick wall, apologizing to his teammates. And it will be interesting to see if he starts next Friday in Boston against the Red Sox.
And our postseason coverage continues tomorrow with Game 5 action, the finale of the Braves and the Astros from Atlanta, followed by, if necessary, Game 5 of this series from St. Louis. All the action begins with the all-new Dodge Dakota pregame show right here on Fox. this guy rush it up there.
Yes, he does. So many different looks. Fastball tailing into right-handers. Fastball sailing away. Wicked late-breaking slider. 98 miles an hour on that last fastball.
First two retired by Brazoban. And that one popped up. And playable. Perhaps. Bradley in foul ground there to get it. And a perfect fit for Brazoban. Dodgers coming up bottom of the inning, trailing St. Louis by 3. Like to thank our aerial coverage tonight from Dodger Stadium. From the AmeriQuest Airship Freedom. AmeriQuest Mortgage Company is the official mortgage company of Major League Baseball. Welcome back to Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Bottom of the 5th inning. And the Dodgers trying to live for another day. Trail by 3 as Suppan delivers strike 1 to David Ross, who bats for the first time tonight. Suppan walked 3 batters over the 2nd and 3rd inning. He's only allowed 2 hits. They appeal, and the first base umpire Jerry Davis said Ross went around, and Suppan ahead 0-2.
That's an appeal you don't usually get when the ball bounces away from the catcher in that fashion. A lot of times it's very difficult for a first base umpire to make this call, but clearly he went through. Mike Matheny asking for the call and got it.
We talked about Suppan, a 16-game winner during the regular season, but Soup's been on when he leaves St. Louis. Popped up right side of the infield. Pujols has got it, 1 away. You look at the numbers for Jeff outside of Busch Stadium this season, and they are mighty good.
And that's unusual too, Tom. I mean, 10 of 11 decisions has Jeff won away from Busch Stadium. The reason that that's unusual is that the mounds on the road are not uniform. Batters boxes, for instance, are uniform throughout baseball, but the mounds are different. We talked about it last night, the different slopes. A lot of pitchers just love pitching here at Dodger Stadium. But that is it's terrific when you can be that dominant on the road, and yet you have to pitch on so many different mounds that aren't designed for your pitching staff.
You heard from Tony La Russa at the end of 2. He didn't think Suppan was all that sharp. Well, you certainly can't argue with 2 runs and 2 hits in his first postseason game. Of course, the Cardinals have been without their best starter during the regular season, Chris Carpenter. And it looks like they will continue to be without him, although that is still subject to some change.
Chris has had a problem with the nerve in his right bicep. Just a guy who was lights out all season long.
Carpenter had the best numbers of all the Cardinal starters, and he, without question, has the best stuff of all the Cardinal starters. Brad Penny, who came over in that deal from the Marlins.
Who have similar injuries,
yep.
Both of them.
Line to Renteria, 2 away in the inning. Penny unavailable through the rest of this season. Tonight's Budweiser fantasy player is Sean Green. Sean with 3 home runs in this series. Went 3 for 4 here last night at a couple of solo home runs. Log on to foxsports.com. Keyword fantasy baseball. Today's game is brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Bud. It's game time. Seven in a row retired by Jeff Suppan. And Jason Worth looks at strike 1. Worth has homered to right center field, walked and scored. On the inside corner, strike 2. Suppan starting to consistently get ahead of each and every Dodger batter here over the last 3 innings.
Much better rhythm, much better cadence over the last 3 innings for Jeff Suppan.
On the ground to Womack. Back-to-back perfect innings for Suppan. We go to the 6th, 5-2 St. Louis. The Division Series on Fox is brought to you by GMC. We are professional grade. By the day after tomorrow, own the biggest event in 10,000 years on DVD Tuesday. And by Sprint, introducing an entirely new way to buy wireless Sprint PCS. We move to the 6th inning at Dodger Stadium. Sellout crowds silenced on the 3-run home run in the 4th inning, which broke a 2-2 tie off the bat of Albert Pujols. Mike Matheny to lead things off, followed by the pitcher Jeff Suppan. There's no activity in the Cardinal bullpen. And many of you saying back in St. Louis, why should there be? Suppan on quite a roll.
Retiring 8 straight after being shaky through the first couple of innings. I'm sure somebody, at least somebody here in this stadium, is thinking, well, the Dodgers are trailing by 3. The next to the last day of the season, they were trailing by 3 and beat the San Francisco Giants 7-3 on a grand slam home run by Steve Finley, scoring 7 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning.
We were here for that one on that Saturday afternoon, and I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like that. 7 runs in the bottom of an inning. Well, these Dodgers, they were comeback kids all year long. 53 come from behind victories, which led the National League and established a Dodger franchise record. They're going to try and do it again tonight. Matheny pops up to Sean Green. Weeknights on FSN. It's the greatest nightly sports show on television. The best sports show, period. Scheduled to appear this week, comedian Drew Carey. Giant star Michael Strahan gives his weekly NFL analysis plus much more. Weeknights only on FSN. Last night we had the largest crowd at Dodger Stadium since the 1988 World Series. That's now in the rearview mirror. Tonight is the largest crowd in the history of Dodger Stadium.
Man.
42 years. 56,268. Suppan retired for the first time tonight.
Even though Suppan did not score when he got that hit in the 4th inning, his single led to a run. He was forced at second base on the line drive by Tony Womack. And then after a Larry Walker single, a home run by Albert Pujols, a 3-run shot, the difference in this ball game.
Timmy, you know as well as anybody, it's such an overlooked part of the National League game when pitchers can help themselves with the bat.
No question.
Boy, you bring up a great point about, you know, a 1-out single that doesn't look like much by Suppan and what it ends up leading to. Of course, oftentimes we analyze a pitcher being able to put down a bunt, which would lead to a run, or the inability to put down a bunt.
Right, right.
And there is very little, if any, doubt that a guy like Suppan with an ERA of over 4, there's a reason why he won 16 games. And in part, it's his ability to help himself.
Yeah, a lot of pitchers in the National League kid about the fact that give me 3 or 4 at-bats a game. I don't care how many hits I get. I'll try to poke one in there, but give me some at-bats. And you know if they get 3 or 4 at-bats, they've pitched a pretty good ball game.
Yep. Oh, 2 on Womack. Braziman misses with a fastball, 95 miles per hour. Jim Tracy wearing out that bubble gum. His team has 4 more cracks at him. Where that could be all she wrote in 2004 for the Western Division champions of the National League.
Yeah, the Dodgers have 12 outs to score at least 3 runs if they can hold the Cardinals.
Two and two. Struck him out. Part of the order coming up for the Dodgers, down 3. It'll begin with Finley, then Beltre and Green. Dodger fans hoping more than that trio. Jeff Suppan pitching in his first career postseason game. Pitching in the very town where he grew up, in the San Fernando Valley outside of Los Angeles. Working on a 2-hitter. And leads 5-2. Heart of the order coming up for the Dodgers. It starts with Finley, who looks at ball 1. Finley 2 hits in 14 at-bats in the series. He singled into right field his last time up. The last Dodger to reach base against Jeff Suppan. Tony La Russa has his bullpen busy. We saw Cal Eldred get up back in the 3rd inning. Now it's a left-hander, Steve Klein.
Steve Klein is getting ready to pitch to Sean Green, Milton Bradley, and Alex Cora. You know, Jeff Suppan, when he was in his early 20s, was a sports writer for the Los Angeles Daily News, made $10 a night. I wonder what his headline would be tomorrow morning on himself.
Our guys gave him a headline. Soup's on.
He's on tonight.
Two and two to Finley. Well, the heart of this Dodger batting order has been so quiet by and large this entire series. Finley, a guy who knocked in 94 during the regular year. Beltre 121, Green 86. That trio has combined for just 6 runs batted in this series, and half of them belong to Sean Green's 3 solo home runs. 3 and 2 to Finley. Dodger club, as we talked about last night, you and Joe talked about on Thursday night, is not a team which leans on a lot of thunder in the lineup. They count on good starting pitching, which by and large they have not gotten in this series, an excellent bullpen. And now the payoff pitch to Finley. In the air down the left field line. You can buy a cheapie in that corner, but Sanders makes the play going into the railing. We talked to Jim Tracy about the heart of his order.
What we haven't seen as a group here as of late is our core guys in the middle firing on the same cylinder for a series of games. That hasn't happened a whole lot, you know, and I'm talking about the, the Finley, Beltre, Green, Bradley scenario, that 3, 4, 5, and 6. We've had a little piece of this and a little piece of that, but nothing collective.
I'll tell you, that was a terrific play by Reggie Sanders, playing Steve Finley into left center field, and keep in mind that ball was tailing away from him.
Short center field, and Edmonds has got it. And just like that, Suppan retires the first 2.
Reggie Sanders, a long way to run in foul territory, had to cope with the ball and the low railing to make a fine play. He made it look a lot easier than it was.
Ten consecutive batters retired by Jeff Suppan, pitching in the biggest game, unquestionably, of his major league career here tonight. Overhand breaking ball. He flipped up there at 70 miles per hour, and Green almost screwed himself in the ground. Launched into right center field. Did he get enough? No, he did not. Maybe in on him a bit. And Walker's there. 11 in a row retired by Suppan. Albert Pujols coming up in the Redbird 7th. Jose Lima has retired all 6 batters he's faced. And he'll get the ball for a 3rd inning. Facing the meat of his Cardinal lineup. Walker, Pujols, rolling. Walker 1 of 2 tonight, has drawn a walk and scored a couple of runs. The Cardinals are 9 outs away from a trip to the National League Championship Series. The last time they won an NLCS was 1987. The last time they won a World Series, you got to go back to 1982. It's hard to believe a franchise so rich in both tradition and success has gone some 22 seasons without winning the whole thing.
New York Yankees have won the World Championship 26 times, far and away the best in baseball, but the Cardinals are second with 9 World Series champions, even though the Dodgers have been in postseason play 23 years.
Let's check in with Jeannie Zalasko.
Working on only 3 days rest, Roger Clemens left with a 5-2 lead, but the Astros could not hold on. J.D. Drew did the damage. Now the series moves on to Atlanta for a final and decisive Game 5 tomorrow, Monday on Fox. Game time to be determined. The Cardinals hang on. It's the Astros and Braves at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. If we have 2 Game 5s tomorrow, the doubleheader gets started in Atlanta at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern, only on Fox.
I'm sure the post-game press conference was not necessarily an enjoyable one for Houston Astros manager Phil Garner. There goes Walker. Throw down to second by Ross is in the dirt and into center field. Walker springs to his feet and he will advance on to third. Well, Larry Walker at one time a great base stealer. He's still a great base runner. But here in a big situation comes up with a stolen base.
Oh, what a jump Walker had on the youngster Yinsi Brazaban, and he wasted no time sliding by his tourists and going to third base. So Walker at third with nobody out. And a throwing error on David Ross.
Infield drawn in for the Dodgers, hammered down the left field line, and this one bends foul. Pujols making a bid for his 2nd home run tonight.
What a behemoth this guy is. He's built like a mesa.
You're right.
I mean, oh, terrifying hitter.
Infield in at all 4 positions in a 2-1 pitch. Fastball away. Albert Pujols came up there in a 2-2 tie in the 4th inning and blasted a 3-run home run to the seats. And then his defense, you talk about, often overlooked.
It was at the bottom half of the inning, the top half of the inning, he was receiving handshakes.
And into center field, scoring is Walker, and Pujols has driven in 4 runs here tonight, and it's a 4-run Cardinals lead.
The thing, you just don't know where to pitch him. I mean, this is not a bad slider from Brazaban. Up a little bit, a little off the plate. His reach is extraordinary. I mentioned earlier keeping that inside pitch fair. He is not a pull hitter. He goes from line to line for effectiveness. He is some player.
The thing you like about him, Timmy, the more you watch him, I mean, the numbers are gaudy, and if you just looked at the numbers, you'd say, hey, this guy's a great player. But even a situation like that, he realizes the infield is in. So many times when you see one of the big sluggers, 40, 50 home run guys, 3-1 pitcher coming out of their shoes trying to hit another home run.
That's true.
He was just putting the bat on the ball and get the run in.
He's smart. He's strong. What a talent. You're right. Some guys become so infatuated with home runs. Sometimes a lesser home run hitter can foul him up in many ways. Start pulling out of there, but not Pujols.
Pujols had 1 run batted in the first 3 games of this series. He has 4 in game 4. Roland still looking for his first hit in the series. Slider too low, 2 balls and no strikes. Reggie Sanders a home run tonight, and like Pujols, displaying his talents on the other side of the field as well, with a terrific running grab and foul ground up against a railing in a 6th inning. 2-1 to Roland. .97-mile-per-hour fastball, but again off the outside corner. Now Brazoban falling behind, 3-1 on Roland.
Right now, the Cardinals have taken the pressure out of this game. This crowd that was so thunderous last night in front of Jose Lima, his terrific performance, and now the Cardinals have just drained the pressure out of this game.
You hear the term used frequently. If you're on the trailing end, you'd like to stay within slam range. The Dodgers are within grand slam range. There goes a runner, and it's ball 4. Well, we talked to Tony La Russa about his very special young player, Albert Pujols, before the game.
You know you're watching something that's, I mean, if he keeps doing this the rest of his career, he's a great Hall of Famer. But you're never really sure how to explain it to somebody. Then all of a sudden you'll see him tie a record with guys like DiMaggio and Williams, and you say, whoops, that shows you the kind of start this guy's had, because you're talking to some of the great players of all time.
We'll take a look over their first 4 seasons. Albert Pujols joined Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio, the only players in Major League history to knock in 500 or more runs in their first 4 seasons. Well, you and I were talking the other day, as great as Pujols is, I mean, and who's been a better hitter than him the last 4 years? And to think DiMaggio knocked in 54 more runs
over his first 4 years in 154 game seasons, playing 32 fewer games, 8 a year. Wow.
Renteria shortens up the bunt, and he missed it. The runner, Pujols, advances on to third.
I don't think Pujols could see the ball until Renteria waved him to third base. Watch David Ross. Caught it wrong. He thought it was behind him, and Renteria waves him toward third base because Pujols couldn't see the ball. Again, another sign of Scott Rowland, who would be on second base ordinarily, but a sign of that bad left calf. And now the infield in for the Dodgers.
1-1 on Renteria, nobody out. A run home, 2 on. And the Cardinals trying to bust this one wide open.
Yeah, with the infield and double play depth, if you're the runner at third, a hard hit ground ball, you'd want to go home. This is a tricky situation for the runner at third base with nobody out.
Ooh. Got him square in the back. Well, Brazoban more than likely starting to run out of steam here. I mean, he's been a 1 or 2 inning guy max since coming up from the minor leagues. This is his 3rd inning, and it's starting to show.
Yep.
He will be taken down in favor of Mike Venefro, the left-hander out of the Dodger pen. Bases loaded for St. Louis, leading 6-2. Mike Venefro comes on from the bullpen to face Jim Edmonds. Strike 1.
It is not often with nobody out and the bases loaded that a team has the infield in, but the Dodgers have to. They cannot afford any more runs. All plays at the plate on grounders to infielders.
Edmonds started 2 and then laid off the breaking ball away.
Right in the flank. Brazoban to Renteria, and Edgar appears to be all right.
Breaking ball fouled away by Edmonds, and Venefro ahead at 1-2. This undoubtedly will be the only batter Venefro faces. They have the right-hander Giovanni Carrara, and now right-hander Duaner Sanchez again up for the 2nd time in the Dodger pen. Right-handed hitters Sanders and Matheny to follow Edmonds. Struck him out. 3rd straight time Edmonds has struck out tonight.
Venefro normally comes from downstairs throwing that sinker. He was on top of that fastball. So a good job by Mike Venefro. And now the right-hander will come in and the infield will go back.
Cardinals will run home here in the 7th inning with a 4-run lead. They have the bases loaded with 1 out. And the new Dodger pitcher is right-hander Giovanni Carrara.
Part of one of the best bullpens in baseball. The Cardinals with an outstanding bullpen also. But the Cardinals have a 4-run lead. Imperative that the Dodgers hold the Cardinals down and not allow them to score another run. They just don't have the offense to come back against a bullpen like the Cardinals can throw at them.
Sanders homered in the 2nd inning. Has since struck out and fouled out down the right field line to Milton Bradley. Infield backs up, double play depth. First pitch swinging, Sanders fouls it out of play. Reggie runs very well. He's a tough guy to double up.
So with that in mind, you might pinch the middle infielders a little bit, and on a ball hit slowly, come home and forget the double play. Unless he hits it sharply at an infielder, you're not going to double him. And if those 2 guys in the middle of the Dodgers infield can't double them, you can't be doubled.
You're not lying.
They are as good as anybody. There's Turris and Cora.
Bases loaded, 1 away. 0-1 to Reggie Sanders. Carrara, the pause, the pitch. Slow roller hit. They'll have to get there quickly, and they turn the double play. Cora and is Turris. Double up Sanders. Cardinals lead by 4. The Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. By Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by HP. Welcome to HP Digital Photography. Click, print, invent. Tonight's game summary brought to you by Nissan. Another dismal performance tonight by Odalis Perez when they needed him most. Jeff Suppan has really answered the call here tonight. 4 runs batted in for Albert Pujols, and the Cardinals looking for their 7th appearance in the National League Championship Series. Dodgers down to their final 9 outs. Milton Bradley, first pitch swinging, down a strike. 11 in a row retired by Suppan. Fastball up and Bradley behind 0-2.
That's one of the ways you judge if you're sitting on the side, or one of the ways you judge a starting pitcher in the 7th inning whether he's still throwing hard is the high fastball. That's the pitch with the zip. He is still, excuse me, Tommy, he's still got the same fastball he had in the 1st inning.
Saw Calero joining Klein in the bullpen, and Gagne cranks it up for the Dodgers. Knocked down by Suppan last time, picks it up, throws, and Bradley is called out. And he is hot. And it looks like he had reason to be.
Albert Pujols cheated very well. He came off the bag before the ball got there. One more look at it. He was safe.
It wasn't even close. I mean, we can see it up here.
He was safe. There's the foot on the bag. He was safe. So the Cardinals get a break.
Jerry Davis, a crew chief down there. 1 away here in the 7th inning. And Alex Cora, the batter.
Foot's on the bag right there, and you can still see white.
I mean, you know what everybody out there is thinking right now. And I mean, hey, you know, in many ways, a lot of us think along the same line. One of the first questions that is asked, you know, is Milton Bradley going to get the benefit of the doubt from umpires? I mean, you hate to talk about it. It's certainly not sitting here saying that Jerry Davis has something against Milton Bradley. But a lot of times in this life, no matter what you do for a living, your reputation precedes you. 2 away in the inning. Jason Grabowski, the pinch hitter.
I think certainly another question that Dodger fans have to ask is Milton Bradley going to be with this team next year? I think people are empathetic to a point. Anger management and going through that. And he said he's going to do that several times, and that's the key. Not just once, but several times. And after a while, an apology should contain a firm purpose of amendment.
Suppan ahead of Jason Grabowski, who bats 4. Giovanni Carrara. 1-1 the count. 13 in a row set down by Suppan. The way he threw the ball through the first really 2+ innings, you had to wonder if he'd be hanging around at the end of 7, and that's precisely what he's done. 14 straight set down by Suppan. What an outing for Jeff tonight. End of 7. Cardinals lead 6-2, 6 outs away from a trip to the National League Championship Series. And on the pitch for the Dodgers, their sensational closer, Eric Gagne. 98-mile-per-hour fastball low.
Combining a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, a wicked changeup, and his 3rd best pitch is a breaking ball that a lot of guys would like as their 1st best pitch. Another one at 98.
Hello, friends. It's Scooter. A changeup is just another word for a slow ball. While the batter is looking for a real fast pitch, the pitcher throws me really, really slow.
And it is that slow.
Well, Scooter covers 4 or 5 octaves with that voice. I mean, he's way up high and way down. Well, we've been talking the last couple of nights about recipes for success or trouble for these two teams. Well, you can start and finish with a recipe to beat the Dodgers. Not Sierra Gagne until the 8th inning of a game when you're winning by 4.
That's right.
Or winning at all. Jeff Suppan will be taken down for a pinch hitter. We talked so much last night about the sensational effort of Jose Lima. And while Suppan did allow a couple of runs here tonight, he was magnificent for the Cardinals, and tonight his first postseason start.
Retiring his last 14 batters to face him.
Now, we said it early on. You're not going to meet a nicer young man in the world than Jeff Suppan. If you believe in that adage that good things happen to good people, then you're right on the money with Jeff Suppan.
When Jeff Suppan pitched for the Cardinals back in mid-September, actually September 9th, 9, 10, and 11, when the Cardinals came to Dodger Stadium, he had to call Brent Maine, his former teammate for the Kansas City Royals, to find out how to get to his house from Dodger Stadium. He knew the way to Dodger Stadium, but he didn't know the way out of here because of all the exits here at Chavez Ravine. Well, he knows the way home now, I'll tell you. He found it tonight. Jeff Suppan.
He only allowed 2 base hits, the home run by Worth in the opening inning, a single by Steve Finley in the 3rd, and then 14 in a row set down, and congratulations across the board from his mate. And Gagne strikes out John Mabry for the 2nd out of the inning. 102 pitches in his 7th inning.
Take you back to Tony La Russa once again, saying that last night's loss, glass half full, could have been a break for the Cardinals, because with Suppan pitching tonight, now going into the League Championship Series, it makes them a better team. And he's right, if the Cardinals can hang on.
It's gone from half full to about 3/4 full right now. Broken bat roller down to Green. And he'll beat Womack to the bag. The Dodgers 2 more cracks at him. They trail by 4 after 7½. The division series on Fox is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge by Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade, is it in you? Well, once more tonight, we'd like to thank our friends from the AmeriQuest Airship Freedom. AmeriQuest Mortgage Company is the official mortgage company of Major League Baseball. Beautiful pictures from high above Dodger Stadium, where the largest crowd in the history of this wonderful ballpark, 56,268, are leaning heavy on these last 2 innings. Jeff Suppan is out. And taking over on the mound, right-hander Julian Tavares.
Tavares working in game 2 for the Cardinals, working a couple of innings, giving up 1 hit, no runs. Part of that very sound Cardinal bullpen.
Robin Ventura pinch hitting, first pitch swinging. And he's out. Let's send it down the road to Jeannie Velasco.
He stole third. He scored on a wild pitch, but his biggest move when Alex Rodriguez put on the pinstripes and Curt Schilling pulled up the socks. This one seemed to be destined. Buckle up. The rivalry comes into your living room. Starting Tuesday night on Fox, it is the matchup everybody wanted. Game 1 of the ALCS from Yankee Stadium. Tuesday night on Fox, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Jimmy, you'll be on hand for that series starting Tuesday night in the Bronx.
Curt Schilling against Mike Mussina. We had a lot of fun talking about that headline in the Boston Herald either Friday or Saturday. I believe the Red Sox were up over the Angels 2-0. And the headlines on the Boston Herald was "Go Yanks." That broke me up. In other words, it's okay if the Red Sox get in it, but we don't want to get in it unless the Yankees are there. What a rivalry.
And it will be renewed again with a trip to the World Series once again on the line. All the offseason moves made by both clubs. And one of the biggest made by any team in baseball, the name you mentioned a moment ago, Curt Schilling, gets the ball game 1.
And Alex Rodriguez, instead of being with the Boston Red Sox, as a lot of Red Sox fans thought he would be, is with the New York Yankees. And Manny Ramirez is still with the Red Sox. He may be the MVP after being traded, or tried to be traded. Red Sox wanted to get rid of him and Nomar Garciaparra. Trade for Maglio Ordonez. All of those things didn't happen.
On the ground, Renteria, the pirouette, and his throw pulls Pujols off the bag, who collides with Izturis. Both players appear to be all right. Cesar going to come up on the losing end of that collision. I can promise you that.
Nice drive by Albert Pujols. We have seen Renteria cheat toward the middle in the last 2 games. And that throw clearly pulling Pujols off the bag, and Izturis didn't mean to run into Albert. No place to go. Watch the left foot, or the right foot, I should say. And both players appear to be all right.
Talked about this Dodger ball club. They call themselves the comeback kids. 53 overall come from behind wins, most in the National League. They won 26 games in their last at bat. Can they come back again? An excuse me swing and fouled away by Worth. Well, we talked about staying within slam range. And the Dodgers hoping that Worth and Finley can find a way to get aboard and bring up Adrian Beltre with a chance to tie.
Well, it's time for Tony La Russa to start left-handed and right-handing the Dodger hitters. And that's why Ray King, the left-hander, is getting ready for Steve Finley.
Worth homered in the opening inning, giving the Dodgers a 1-0 lead. He walked and scored in the 3rd. That infield hit by Izturis ends a string of 15 straight batters retired by Cardinal pitching. Swung on and missed. Tavares dropping down on that delivery. And that's a 2nd out of the inning. And here comes Tony La Russa. He has summoned the left-hander Ray King to face Steve Finley. So we'll take a break. Cardinals 4 outs away from a trip to the NLCS. October, 8 teams, 1 champion. The race to the World Series is on, and you can catch all the action right here on Fox. Don't miss it. We will have both League Championship Series culminating with a World Series. 1 series still left to be determined. That will be tomorrow at Turner Field in Atlanta. Game 5 between the Astros and the Braves. Ray King now takes over to face Steve Finley with 1 on and 2 out here in the 8th. Cardinals leading by 4. One on and fouled back out of play as Torres took off for second base.
Absolutely take it if the Cardinals are going to give it to you. And then if Finley gets a hit, that cuts it to 3.
This figures to be the only batter Ray King is going to face. We have Adrian Beltre on deck. Jason Isringhausen, the Cardinal closer, getting loose. And taking second base is Cesar Izturis.
I would imagine defensive indifference will be awarded as Izturis. No stolen base since the defense was indifferent. Always thought that was kind of a cruel term.
Yeah.
Defensive indifference.
Found out a play, 1 and 2 on Finley. In other words, they don't care.
Right. Change that. Make it more civil.
Right.
They don't care is better than defensive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speak the real language. Fancy everything up for crying out loud. Just tell it like it is. They don't care. Right? It's all window dressing at the end.
Defensive indifference. A baseball talk?
No.
Come on.
Again, a reminder, should this series go to Game 5, we'll have it for you at 8 Eastern. If this series ends tonight, it'll be the Astros and the Braves, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, 7 o'clock Central Time. For those watching in Houston, Texas, and there will be plenty of them. Roy Oswalt will get the ball tomorrow night against Jared Wright. Oswalt spectacular in Game 2 of that series. Although the Astros bullpen let him down. That was a Game 1 and a walk-off home run by Rafael Furcal. Finley pops it up. Should be the final out in the 8th inning, and it is. We go to the 9th in Los Angeles. Cardinals lead 6-2. Larry Walker to lead things off in the St. Louis 9th inning. The Cardinals are 3 outs away from a trip to the National League Championship Series and what would be a 7th trip to the NLCS for the Redbirds. Cardinals were there in 82, again in 85, 87. Into center field, a base hit by Walker. And here comes Albert Pujols. We talked about that collision with Cesar Izturis a moment ago, and now we speculated that the loser in that deal would be Cesar Izturis. Although Pujols appeared to be shaken up coming back into the dugout.
Yes, he did. Here's the play. Renteria over to Pujols, pulling him off the bag and hitting him in the right side area. And then when he came into the dugout, he felt that right little area that if the Cardinals win tonight, well, one way or the other, they'll take the charter back to St. Louis, and that thing could tighten up. And tomorrow, Albert could find that injured, where tonight, with all the adrenaline flowing and everything, you don't feel things like that. Looked like it was right under the rib cage as Tom Wilson, the 3rd Dodger catcher of the night, is behind the plate here in the 9th inning.
We were talking about the Cardinals and their 6 prior trips to the NLCS. Timmy, the one you brought up, and you were there in 1996 when they jumped out to that lead over the Atlanta Braves and watch the Braves come storming back from a 3-1 deficit to win it in 7.
Once again, holding the Cardinals to only 1 run in the last 3 games. That brilliant pitching of the Braves.
0-2 to Pujols. Cardinals got to the NLCS in 2000, losing in 5 games to the New York Mets. And then in 2002, losing in 5 to Barry Bonds and the Giants. And you know, Tim, you start to look ahead at how the Cardinals fared, and there's still 3 outs left here. And it's not over. With a 4-run lead and Isringhausen coming on, certainly they like their chances. The Cardinals beat the Braves 4 of 6 during the regular season, as Pujols is now in further pain, this time fouling it off his foot.
Boy, he's had a tough 2 or 3 outs. The defensive play, whereas Torres ran into him, and now ball off the left instep. Writhing in pain is it Albert Pujols.
Well, you can clearly see he is feeling.
Yeah, I mean, he's a powerful guy, and when he hammers one off a foot, it hurts a little more than the smaller guys, a guy like Tony Womack.
1-2 to Pujols. Swinging a foul ball back out of play. The Cardinals locked up with the Houston Astros 18 times this year. And Houston won 10 of the 18. Including the final 4 they played against one another this season. Of course, the Cardinals had that division championship wrapped up. That one got away from Gagne, breaking ball, and Albert still limping. The National League Championship Series will not start until Wednesday. So whatever bumps and bruises and aches and pains, at least if the Cardinals wrap it up here tonight, they'll have a couple of days to heal those up.
National League Championship Series starting in St. Louis or at the Dodgers. Make that comeback in the bottom of the 9th here in LA.
There's one, and a double play as Pujols continues to limp, and he's limping badly. Talked about the Cardinals have not won a World Series title since 1982 when the great Bruce Sutter, Van Gorman Thomas, clinching the Cardinals' 10th World Series title.
Bruce Sutter should be in the Hall of Fame, too, in my view.
Well, I don't know how in the world those who vote for the Baseball Hall of Fame, and it's the Baseball Writers Association of America, I am just dumbfounded how they, by and large, continue to ignore the closer spot. I mean, now they've put some in, obviously. Dennis Eckersley this year, but he was a starter and then later a closer, of course.
Fingers.
Raleigh Fingers. But, hey, talk about the importance, and I don't care. They talk about rewriting that rule that Jerome Holtzman from the Chicago Tribune actually crafted for Major League Baseball. And
back in 1969.
Rule, right? Well, just watch a team for a couple of years that doesn't have a great closer. And then you'll find out just how important that position has become in the evolution of baseball.
The Red Sox last year, as an example.
Precisely.
A team that started out, the Red Sox last year, bullpen by committee. And then, of course, signed to Keith Folk in the offseason. And while Keith Folk has had some problems down there, he at least is a closer with a track record, and a good track record.
Yep. Roland pops it up. The Dodgers will come to bat in the bottom of the 9th inning. Their season hangs in the balance. the 9th inning. Boy, that's a brand spanking new little one right there. Adrian Beltre to begin things in the bottom of the 9th inning against a Cardinal closer. Although not a save situation, it's much more important than a save situation for Jason Isringhausen. A trip to the National League Championship Series, 3 outs away. Told you the Dodgers have been coming from behind all season long. 26 wins in their final at bat, second most in the major leagues to Minnesota. 2-1, and of course the day they clinched the National League West, they scored 7 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning, capped off by a Steve Finley grand slam to come back from a 3-0 deficit against the Giants.
Jason Isringhausen with 47 saves on the season. That ties Lee Smith, who had 47 back in 1991 for the Cardinals.
In the air, right center field. Edmonds racing back to the wall, and he's got it up against Suppan. 1 gone in the Dodger 9th inning.
For the Dodgers, first baseman, Sean Green.
Perhaps the final at bat in a magical year for Adrian Beltre, which may be capped off by a National League Most Valuable Player award. Beltre is a free agent at the end of this year. Will he be wearing Dodger blue come 05?
I don't know, but he'll be wearing better clothes and driving a better car. I know that.
And have a lot of green.
Yes, he will.
Speaking of green, here's Sean.
Good knuckle curveball from Isringhausen.
And it's 0-2. This Cardinal team, really after a sluggish first couple of weeks of the season, just manhandled the National League. Running away in the National League Central from those that were picked by many to finish ahead of St. Louis in that Central Division. The Chicago Cubs and the Houston Astros picked by most to win the Central. And yet the Cardinals, 105 wins.
Anyone who says that they picked the St. Louis Cardinals to win the Central Division of the National League is revising history. They are not telling the truth.
Milton Bradley, a check swing and a miss. The Cardinals have not won the World Series, as we mentioned, since 1982. They've not been there since 1987. Is this the year of the St. Louis Cardinals? One more foe to conquer. Should they nail this one down, that will either be the Atlanta Braves or the Houston Astros. The Astros have never won a postseason series. The Atlanta Braves have been down this road many, many, many times over the last 13 years. Grounded foul, 2-2 to Bradley.
What made that loss of the Astros this afternoon so stunning? They had won 19 home games before that loss. 19 home games.
The champagne undoubtedly on ice. Isringhausen trying to put this series on ice. And missed, high and away, full count to Bradley. This high-octane Cardinal offense stunted briefly here last night by Jose Lima, but 6 runs tonight. And the Dodgers still with hope.
For the Dodgers, second baseman,
Tony La Russa has said point blank, this is his best Cardinal team. He felt in years past they were maybe a piece here, a piece there away from being able to overcome mistakes in a game or an inning, which prevented them from getting to the World Series since he took over. And they have played like his best team this season and through this series. Bradley takes second base, and that one lined foul by Alex Cora. Cardinals went out and made some shrewd moves. Their general manager Walt Jocketty brought some players in here with postseason experience, players that have won rings, most notably Tony Womack and Reggie Sanders, who got rings with the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2001. Brought in Larry Walker from Colorado, another weapon. Swing and a miss, and the St. Louis Cardinals are headed for the National League Championship Series. That will start on Wednesday night. The opponent to be determined. They win this National League Division Series 3 games to 1. And for the 7th time will play in the NLCS.
A guy who was quiet throughout the division series, Albert Pujols, with a 3-run home run and an RBI single, 4 RBIs, and winning it for the Cardinals. What a job by Jeff Suppan. 7 innings of 2-hit ball, retiring the last 14 men to face him. And the Dodgers on a classy, what a classy move this is.
Boy, this is a classy move.
It really is. Typical of Jim Tracy.
And the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yep.
Most times you're celebrating and you're just wrapped up in your own good fortunes. But these two franchises, so deep, so rich, great tradition. And this is sportsmanship at its finest.
It is.
And there's that champagne on ice. They're celebrating in St. Louis. And all over that entire region of the country. Timmy, you played there. I mean, some have said the best fans in baseball. Heck, I think all fans in baseball are great. But they love their St. Louis Cardinals.
They really do. And do they ever have a team to celebrate this year? Albert Pujols and Eric Gagne. The National League Championship Series, the Cardinals against either the Atlanta Braves or the Houston Astros, begins on Wednesday night in St. Louis. Congratulations to Tony La Russa and the St. Louis Cardinals going to the NLCS.
Let's send it downstairs to Chris Myers.
All right, thanks very much. They're playing I Love LA. Jeff, congratulations on your first postseason victory. You're from California. A special moment for you.
Yeah, I know to have my family here today has just been a great experience. You know, they're all supportive, a little nervous, I'm sure. I told them to breathe a lot during the game, and you know, it was a great win. We had a great team effort tonight, and you know, we're looking forward to things to come.
You didn't appear nervous out there. I mean, 7 innings, 2-hit ball. You feeling the pressure? How'd you handle it?
Well, you know, it was a lot of breathing, and you know, I think when you have a routine, you got to stick to the routine. And then when you're playing with guys like this behind you, and Mike was phenomenal, was there for me the whole game, knew kind of what I was going through, and you know, it worked out.
How about the performance of Albert Pujols, the big bats waking up? I mean, I know they've been there all season long for the Cardinals.
Yeah, you know, Albert is a tremendous player, and he does amazing things out there. And you know, with him and everyone else, I mean, it's the best team I've been on, and I think we always play that team game.
All right, so during the year, you won the series against the Braves. You guys lost the series against the Astros. What do you think? Who do you think you'll be facing?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out later.
All right, congratulations again.
Okay,
Thank you very much. All right, Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, telling us, too, that he and Tony La Russa leading towards Woody Williams starting Wednesday in Game 3, and that they won't be counting on Chris Carpenter at all through the postseason. And we have Albert Pujols with us right here. And Albert Pujols, of course, with the 3-run homer in the 4th inning, driving in 4 runs. We want to find out how he feels physically. Let's go back upstairs to Tommy. We'll get a report in a moment, Tom.
Chris, thank you very much. So the largest crowd ever in the history of Dodger Stadium filing out of here after a 6-2 loss, and congratulations to the St. Louis Cardinals. Their general manager, Walt Jocketty, owner Bill DeWitt. And let's send it back downstairs to Chris Myers.
All right, Albert, a lot to talk about. Congratulations, by the way, on a great performance. Physically, how are you feeling after the play at first and fouling the ball off? You're going to be okay for Wednesday?
Man. Yeah, I think I'm going to be okay. Thank God, we got a day off tomorrow. And it was awesome, after last night game, Lima come up and make his pitch, throw like a veteran guy like he was, and then coming in and get this big win is big for us.
All right, well, congratulations. Good luck in the National League Championship Series.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you then. Tom?
Chris, thank you very much. And congratulations again to Tony La Russa, his staff, all of those affiliated with the St. Louis Cardinals franchise, and their great fans. They're going to the NLCS. The producer of tonight's game, Jeff Cowan, our director, Jim Lynch, our associate director, Eric Billickmeyer, our broadcast associate, Zach Fields, our technical producer, Dante Rotante. The technical director is Jeff Butler. Our audio mixer, Jeff Cohen. Studio show produced by Gary Lang, directed by Jeff Wynn, the associate director, Chris Theron. Coordinating producer of the studio show, Scott Ackerson. Studio technical supervisor, Jack